and welcome to the Kinda Sorta Maybe Show. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to review and spoil the heck out of Dunkirk, probably. So my name's Jim.
Claudia.
And Melinda.
It's been a while since we've done one of these, but we just saw Dunkirk recently, so we're going to talk about it. A couple different things about it. I didn't really know too much about this movie. I just knew it was directed by Christopher Nolan, which directed The Dark Knight, the Batman series, the more recent one. Yeah, well, not the most recent one. That's with Ben Affleck. But yes, the I'm Batman one.
I think I did a pretty good.
That was pretty good.
A pretty good impression of
Pretty
it.
accurate. So, of course, Inception, Interstellar. I'm a pretty big, I think, Christopher Nolan fan. I really like Memento. I don't know if you guys seen that one.
When was the last
Super
time you
good.
watched Interstellar, Jim?
Not that long ago. What?
Was it when you said you were going to after my space marathon?
Yes, maybe, but I have seen it recently, so it was cool. I don't know if you've seen The Following, which was also a Christopher Nolan movie. I think it's one of his own, like, really
Is that from
noir.
2012? What year did that come out? Is it an old one or a new one?
It's a really old one. Yeah. It's like one of his first
Like
films.
from your time?
No, way before. Yeah, I mean,
from your
probably.
time back in the day.
But anyway, so yeah, big Chris Nolan fan. Do you like the Christopher Nolan movies?
I didn't even know that was a big thing, but Pablo, my husband, when he, dragged me into that movie, he's like, it's a Christopher Nolan kind of movie, babe. I gotta watch this. And I'm like, okay.
I wonder if Batman's gonna come out and stuff. Like, I don't know. So he has really cool, like, Inception. Did you like that one?
Conception or Inception?
Inception.
What kind of movie are you watching?
That's something else.
No, so Inception.
You said Conception.
No, I said
to be
Inception.
clear,
No,
when we watched
We'll
this,
rewind
you
it.
said Conception.
Rewind, and I was right. Okay, go.
Whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I watched Inception. Did
Okay.
I like it?
Yeah.
It was too long.
Too long,
It
let
was
me
too
guess.
long.
No, just too many plots and moving things. It was
Okay.
It
How
was with,
about
Brad Pitt.
Interstellar with Brad Pitt?
no, not with Brad Pitt, with
I don't think
Leo.
Brad Pitt's ever been.
Leonardo
yeah.
DiCaprio.
Good save. How about the other one, Interstellar, with Matthew
Matthew
McConaughey?
McConaughey.
Yeah,
We started watching. No, I had watched it, and then
not a fan of it. I guess not. So not a fan of.
Not
Christopher
so
Nolan.
much.
How about you, Melinda?
Yeah, well, I was extremely drawn to it because, first of all, it's a war movie, so I had heard of it, months and months and months ago. I was super excited for it. And I do like Christopher Nolan. I love Batman, and I love a lot of the films that he makes because the cinematography the way he makes his movies are, beautiful. Like you're gonna be impressed with the way he, when you're watching his movies, and yeah. So I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what the film was. So you had not heard of it at all?
of Dunkirk, only what Pablo would say about it, like that he was excited about watching it because he likes war movies. But I did see the trailer and the movies, and I didn't think much of it. But I thought it was gonna be like Pearl Harbor.
Oh wow,
Oh, yeah.
the classic war movie, Pearl Harbor. I can't wait for that love story.
Oh yeah, I know.
What was that movie?
Liv Tyler never came out in this movie.
Yeah, so it was a really different from a lot of war movies. So I went and saw it, and I don't know what I expected, I guess. Being a big Christopher Nolan fan, we saw a bunch of familiar actors. Were in this. Did you recognize any of them?
Just the captain. The captain was familiar from like Harry
He's
Potter or
probably
something.
from Titanic or something.
Was he like
It's
a
the same guy.
Weasley?
Was it?
No,
Okay.
no. Yeah, there were a lot of familiar
The pilot.
characters.
Yeah, which is Bane.
Bane, that's
which
Bane.
is
Scarecrow came out.
Yeah, it said that Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Jarvis came out.
Cillian Murphy, which is Scarecrow, or Killian, as they call him. I don't know what they call him. And then Jarvis, you mentioned. Yeah, Jarvis was there. Who was he? He was one of the captains or something.
Yeah,
right? I don't know his rank.
He had a. Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
a
want to.
professional.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in the British hierarchy of military rank.
Yeah,
but
he was wearing his fancy attire, so
Sure.
he was someone of significance in the film.
yeah.
We're
so-
gonna talk.
No, I was breathing.
Yeah, so you had, the way the movie starts was really, really powerful. I think really intense. You have, and I guess you've seen it in the trailer. We just watched the trailer to remember. But yeah, you see that propaganda that the enemy dropped in Dunkirk. If you're not familiar, is in France, right? It's
beach.
it's a beach in France. So pretty much the propaganda said, you're surrounded, and there's nothing they could do. They were fighting for nothing really. So the whole thing is this mass evacuation, and what a really quiet movie, super quiet film. The way, not a lot of dialogue.
I was going to mention that. I loved it. I love that it was not conversation heavy. It wasn't dialogue heavy. Because what drove it was the music.
Action.
Yeah.
The music a lot. You guys, we've talked about it before in previous podcasts. I love soundtracks, and this one was amazing. I haven't checked who composed it, but I know that Christopher Nolan does a lot of Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer.
Is it Hans Zimmer? It sounded like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to start listening to this one. But oh man, the soundtrack was beautiful. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I love that it was a war epic, and there weren't a lot. There wasn't dialogue. It was it was driven by their actions.
Yeah, not telling or whatever. Not this. What is it? The I can't.
Visuals.
Yeah, the visuals told the story, not so exposition. Like this character that's going to explain everything what's going on.
It's like 5 lines in this whole movie.
That's true. And one thing I didn't notice until later, I guess, looking into the movie. At the beginning, there was a graphic that just said, the mole, which is number 1 mole, like 1 week or something.
Yeah.
So, and I looked into it that whole story took place in 1 whole week. So their story, because you saw night and you see day, and you'd go to the other characters and their stories, and they'd be doing something else. Like, wait, that just happened.
How did you feel about that? Because it bothered me. I didn't like it.
You didn't like the whole switching back?
Yeah, I understood that what was happening.
Yeah.
I understood that they were happening at different times, but it bothered me that one of them, there was an explosion, and it was at night, and then the next scene was broad daylight, and I understand again what they were trying to do. Yeah, what he was going for, but as a viewer, I was not a fan of it. It bothered me. I didn't like it.
Yeah. So do you remember? I know you mentioned that there's like 3 storylines and stuff with time. I think the second story was a boat, which took place in 1 day. I think. And then the third one was the airplane one that took place in 1 hour. So, time was a big issue. And speaking of the soundtrack, the ticking all the time.
Yeah.
So it was very, like, visually, this movie was great. Like, I love the way it looked. I love and knowing Christopher Nolan, he does all practical, like just about everything is a practical effect. He doesn't like using CG.
Yeah.
For example, in Batman.
Bane actually did break Batman's spine. That was 100% accurate.
Okay. Well, the airplane scene and the Batman.
I saw the behind the scenes.
I can't remember the name of the movie. The Batman, the third one. I can't. Jeez. Okay. So they actually did that whole airplane thing where they grabbed it and tore the wings off and all this stuff. Super cool stuff. Inception. He had the room that physically turned. Really impressive stuff. So this guy goes out. Spend so much money on buying real airplanes of the time, of the period, all that kind of stuff, building the props, all that. I saw behind the scenes where he used like cutouts instead of doing digital people. Yeah. He did these cutouts. It's super cool. Like, I mean, the craft, he loves the craft. Yeah. It like the quality is there.
The details are there.
Yeah,
that's the important thing for him.
Yeah. So very impressed with the way the movie was put together, the way it was shot. With the soundtrack, though, I kind of have to disagree with you on that one.
You didn't like it?
I did, and I know it's intentional, but there's the ticking of all the time, right? Which is like the whole thing of playing with time.
I love that.
Do you remember that, the soundtrack? Well, it was, okay, this is the thing, like, so with movies, you have like arcs, right? So you have something happens, and it gives you a little bit of time to rest.
So you can go pee on your pee break?
No, yeah. So something happens, but it gives you a little bit of time to like, okay, calm down. This movie didn't have, it was just rise. Never.
It's rising action.
But the whole movie can't be rising action.
I think that's what made the movie different. That
it was.
The thing is, okay, so we just saw the trailer right before we started the podcast, and you saw that the way, again, and that's the editors, they do an amazing job of making you want to watch the film, right? So they made it seem like it was going to be explosion after explosion after explosion, just nonstop, a war epic. It was going to be a war film.
Like a Saving Private Ryan kind of.
Saving Private, exactly. So when I first saw the trailer, I mean, months ago, and I of course I want to see every war epic that there is, and I don't remember what movie we saw it in the trailer for, but I remember my sister turning to me and saying, you're gonna force me to watch that movie, and I was like, yeah, heavy. But wait, what was I talking about?
You're saying that you knew you wanted to watch that movie.
The rising action, right? So I thought that that's the way it was going to be. And it was not like that in the film at all because it took place in different times.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was a complete rising action because it was, the timing was different, I guess. So like
that kind of gave you the break between
yes,
it.
exactly.
And that's true.
Yeah.
The characters did have like, okay, now they're going over here, now they're setting up, they're floating in water.
Yeah.
Or they're being very silent. That's true. But if you like, as I remember, everything they were doing was like one wrong move and we're dead kind of thing.
After another. Yeah,
so,
but that's what kept you on the edge of your seat.
It did, but the whole time, so I was stressed. I was really stressed because like this movie doesn't let me rest. So maybe it's like a personal thing or like my perception of that was just like I can't like I think my like right now I'm thinking about it like my legs, my muscles like my muscles are anyway. So
I see it. I see
but
it.
do you know what I'm talking about?
I see it because like so in addition to us being confused with the accents, right? Because we couldn't understand.
She was telling me this morning that her and Pablo. The rating, we're going to rate this, but the rating that her and Pablo are giving it had a lot to do with the fact that she didn't understand their accent.
I was like, what the heck are they saying?
Speak English!
They would just speak everything so fast
Sure.
and I'm like, okay, I don't know what they're saying, so I don't know what, I'm inferring that this is happening, but I really don't understand what they're saying. And also, I forgot my point. We came in like a little bit late because we underestimated that they were gonna put like 15 minutes of freaking commercials, and by the time we got there, I guess they were on scene 2 or hour 2 or the second part.
When the text started appearing.
Yeah, we came in when they were at the beach.
So you missed like 3 minutes, 4 minutes,
probably.
3-4 minutes.
All that happened was everything in the trailer where the papers were falling.
We didn't see that.
Okay, so all of
He
that
wanted
was
to go to the bathroom, and that's pretty much it.
Yes.
The guy wanted to go to the bathroom, and then they got ambushed. They ran away. He jumped the fence. All his friends died.
Yeah.
And he sees this guy burying a body, or like taking the shoes pretty much off of a body.
The clothes. Yeah.
So you figure, this dude's a spy, and he's not a part of this platoon. And that was really smart of the characters, though, where like everybody was scared. Like everybody was scared. Let's get out of here. And I thought it was just like also when the planes would go over, they're like, oh, just another day. Everybody get down. Like they were already used to these bombing runs.
I love. My thing is that this film, Christopher Nolan drove it. It was driven through the characters, and again, they weren't saying a lot. Yeah. But it wasn't like Pearl Harbor. It wasn't Private Ryan, where there are these.
You get to know the characters.
It wasn't like we know who the hero is. We know who's gonna come out on top. It was not like that at all. It showed real life, military men who were terrified and were doing anything they could to survive. Yeah. And that was extremely realistic to me in the sense that you saw them scared, you saw them screaming when they were jumping off boats and when they were catching fire and when they were swimming through oil and stuff like that. You saw how terrified they were.
Yeah, the shell shock.
The shell shock.
Cillian Murphy, is that his name? Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
When Scarecrow, where you see him on this other boat rescuing guys, say, hey, we'll come back for you. And that was it. You remember that part? He's like, we'll come back for you. And then later on, he's a shell shocked one that after they got hit with like a torpedo in the boat.
That other
super
scene,
scary.
like fast forward a little bit, that scene with the torpedo when they were.
Cool.
Dude, I love when it was like coming.
Like above the water.
I got so excited.
Yeah,
you got so excited.
But it was to see that coming toward you. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
that
scary.
Was terrifying. That was so scary, and I thought it was really cool. I loved
that
it.
Bread with jelly looked really good too.
Yeah, me too. No, especially because that morning we had they gave us biscuits
Yeah.
with jelly for breakfast. And so when they were showing that, I'm like, oh man, I should have eaten that because now I want it.
I want it. It looked really
They
good.
made it
No,
look
but it's
really
okay because-
thick and jellyish.
Yeah.
No, because
Jelly-ish.
afterwards I ate a biscuit from Whataburger. I ate the new
Sponsored by
Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Sponsor
Shout
me.
out.
I love it.
It looked good.
Yeah, so that was really cool scenes, and he sunk a ship. He sunk multiple ships in this movie, making this movie. Just really cool part. So I did like that, but again, it's very tense with the music.
Did you all? We're from the U.S.
Uh-huh.
Were you guys rooting for these people who are not of our nationality? Were you rooting for them? Did you want them to, not that you wanted them to die, but were you saying like, I want you guys to succeed, I want you guys to,
Well, to be honest with you,
or did you not think about that?
No, to be honest with you, they were our allies, so I knew that prior knowledge before. But with Dunkirk, honestly, this is not an American story.
Right.
So this is not a story we are told in school. We know Normandy.
Exactly.
We know all these other.
Okay, so this took
We know
place.
American history.
Yeah, we know the American
Yeah.
history exactly. And so this was taken. This thing.
Bless you.
Bless you. So in real life, this occurred a few weeks after Germany invaded
Thank you.
Poland.
Yes,
Poland.
Poland.
Why
You're
am I
saying it
saying
right.
Poland? It's because I read stuff. I don't say it
Uh-huh.
out loud. So it was literally weeks after Germany invaded Poland.
Sure.
And so this happened, but we weren't taught it. And
Yeah.
so for me, it was weird seeing a story that wasn't
We're not the heroes.
where we're not
Americans.
the
Yeah.
heroes exactly. And I know
Yeah.
that I had been seeing. I haven't read any like full on reviews because I mean I literally just saw this film. But from what I've seen on Twitter, is a lot of people are upset because Indian soldiers weren't represented and they were a
okay.
part of it in
Okay.
real life. And so a lot of people are upset by that it was just English and French
Yeah.
troops who you were seeing on screen.
Yeah.
And he completely left out an entire group of individuals,
That were
of
there.
soldiers who
Oh,
were
okay.
a part of them, who was a part of that. And so I can imagine why they would be upset
Mhm.
for that. But again, this wasn't our
True.
story. This was, again, they were our allies, but it wasn't about us, which is weird
Yeah,
because
we weren't in the war yet then, at that point.
exactly,
Right,
yeah. And so when they show war epics, so and I've seen a lot of them, the United States is the one that's gonna
Save
be
them.
the hero,
Yeah, be the hero.
is gonna come in and be like, I mean, and that's why I was talking to you guys about that Robot Chicken
Yeah.
clip. I want you guys to see it afterwards because it shows the mentality that we're taught in school,
Sure.
that America's always going to be the hero, that we're the stars of everything.
Yeah.
And this wasn't the case, and it was different for me, I guess.
Sure.
I still enjoyed it a lot. Like I loved seeing a different point of view, a
Perspective,
different
point of view.
perspective. Yeah.
No, I get that. And that's one thing, like our ignorance of, we just weren't taught that.
Exactly,
Like, what's
yeah.
Dunkirk?
Yes.
I
And
didn't know that.
That's
This
what it was.
mass
It was ignorance. It
evacuation.
wasn't that we don't care
Yeah.
for it. We just weren't. It
Taught
wasn't taught in
Yeah.
our school system at all. Like we didn't know about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a real good point. Did you know what any of this was?
No, I didn't know that. Like, I actually never even gave it a thought. Like, oh, I'm rooting for these English Frenchmen. Like, I was obviously they're in the
English
story.
Frenchmen.
Yeah.
English and Frenchmen,
Frenchmen.
like, you know.
Hyphen.
But now that you put it that way, like, yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna be rooting for the other side.
Yeah, and it's because, and I've mentioned it before. Like I minored in history, so I had to take World War II classes and learn about the world wars and stuff. So I know the basics of it from America's point of view.
Sure. Yeah.
We'd read stuff from other countries and
Mhm.
stuff, but for the most part, everything that I learned was
American
our
history.
role,
Yeah,
our role in the
role
war.
in World War II. That's
Exactly.
all we know.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah, so you also had these other storylines. We kind of mentioned the boats. So you had the father, son, and the neighbor, and like that. And I, after the fact, seeing like the making of where the regular person was a hero at the end of the day, where they came and were able to take a lot of these troops off, and and that was really unique
good,
and cool, So I like that. And then the plane part with Tom Hardy, this pilot where he doesn't know how much fuel he has. He's just
But
flying
he
on
just
fumes.
wanted to keep going.
Yeah, wanted to keep going, and he ended up, pretty much saving the day.
And
Like,
he gets captured, right? At the
yeah,
end.
captured at the
Spoilers.
end. So he pretty much spoiled this
In
whole thing.
history from 1940.
Yeah. So I really like that. What were some of your favorite parts? Did you have any favorite moments in this movie?
The plot with the whole boy and the dad and the boat, like that was kind of weird to me, and it really hurt when the other boy died.
Yeah, the friend.
But I mean, just the excitement of knowing that they've gone there and that they're picking up all these people and helping them, like that. I think that was one of my favorites when they got rescued at the end. Like I'm like, yes, finally, because. Like you said, you're stressed out during the whole freaking movie, and you're just like, oh my god, when are they gonna get rescued? Because it was really long, I was like, man, it's never gonna happen.
And what were some of your least favorite parts?
Well,
do you want to talk about your favorite?
Okay, yeah.
Man, am I the only one who didn't feel stressed throughout the entire film?
You're like, this is so relaxing.
This is perfect for me. War. I love it. I love stuff like that. But I guess just seeing the way it was back then is just so different. The way that we're just chilling at the beach, they were thousands. I mean, there are a ton of people.
Yeah, what did they say? Like 40,000 troops or something like that?
Soldiers
it's
there,
crazy.
Just chilling in a beach.
Yeah.
And I think we saw at one point that there's one of them who just walked in. He committed suicide, right? Like he didn't.
He walked into the.
He didn't want to
swim home.
He didn't want to deal with it, and so. I just love that it was from the soldier's point of view. Also, at the very end, I don't know if you remember, but when the blonde guy went to give the picture to the newspaper from his friend who died, like, did that journalist not fact check anything? Like, to me, it was just different because it wouldn't be the case now. Like, you wouldn't write a one-sided story of like. I mean, not to like hate on that kid, the 17-year-old.
It might have been an obituary though, and you can write whatever you want.
No, but the title was 17. Yeah, local hero at age 17. I'm like, excuse me, is this journalist? Yeah, who did you cite? Because it was a one-person account.
Sure.
He's like, write a story. That guy saved a bunch. Like, I don't want to hate on him, but like. The journalist?
He's a hero, Melinda. Why are you hating on
I'm not hating on it. I just want to know.
He get blind and then he died.
I know. He did work there. No, that boy worked there because he mentioned something.
His dad wanted him to be a writer, a journalist, or something
an investigative journalist or something.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Yeah. Did you miss that?
Yeah, I did.
You're like, journalism, no, don't care. Fake news.
More fake news.
But I saw the headline. I'm like, hashtag fake news. No, but it was just, that part was weird for me. But it was a timepiece, and I love period pieces. And that's why I loved Wonder Woman. I love old timey stuff, and I don't know. I loved the majority of this film. I didn't feel stressed out like y'all. I was intrigued by it. There was not a moment, because I know that you'll get bored in movies a lot, and you say that they're too long, or there are lapses where you think like, oh, they could have cut that out. I didn't feel that in this film at all. Like the entire time, like I'm like, what is gonna happen next?
Yeah, and you never knew when the movie was gonna end. Really, it was one of those things that was pretty cool. Like I said, usually you have that tense moment. Now they did have that change of music when the triumphant when they saw all the ships coming in.
Home. What do you see? Home.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, everybody is excited that the ships are coming to save them. So that was a change of the mood toward the end of the movie, and then. You hear like this bomber coming back again, and then the other guy takes him out. Poe Dameron shoots him down. Tom Hardy comes by.
BB-8.
Yeah, so that was cool. Those are, I think, some of my favorite parts. I like the boat scene where they all hop into this boat, and then the target practice. They're just shooting randomly into this boat, and then they just start shooting to sink it just for fun. Like I don't know if they knew they were in there or not, but. They're just shooting to sink the boat. Cool.
It was an enemy boat.
Yeah, it was just a blue one. It was just a regular boat.
No, it was an enemy boat.
It was an enemy? No, because it was a Dutch. It was a Dutchman.
It was a Dutch. The Dutch guy is the one that showed up, and
He's like, that's my boat. I came back because we got stranded out here. So they all jumped in there to like wait for the tide to come back up and get out of there. So, just for fun, if I had a gun, I'd shoot a boat on the beach.
You do it in the ranch when if you see a bottle can, like you just want to shoot stuff when you have a gun.
And that's what they were doing because it was like tight patterns. So it was like a target practice.
And it was very smart for that person to for the person to realize like, no, they don't know we're here.
Yeah.
So you saw the thinkers and who are out in the war. You saw the ones who just want to act, the ones who just want to act. And so that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. Airplane stuff was super cool. Was done really well. With the three pilots and the crashing in the water was super cool. The dog fights, that was awesome. Good to see. And they had, I like that. I like that part of the movie, and just the whole like, when is he gonna run out of
Fuel.
and then the overlapping story when they finally all come together, and you see the three, well, kind of, I guess, like the three or four characters where they all interact, well, kind of, or at the same time, like, oh, that's when he flew by that one time.
Yeah,
oh, that's when that ship, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
I like
cool.
that they replayed that. Also, the part at the very end when the blonde pilot gets attacked, not attacked, but
It's like, where were you?
Where were you? And then, so the dad, he's like, no, those guys know where you were.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like what we were talking about today with the Facebook. I'm like, Claudia, we know what you do.
Oh,
like, we know what you do. We know your work.
Yeah.
So it's just like that. Just this movie was about perspective,
Sure.
and that's what it was. And I mean, it was. Oh man, it was beautifully shot. I really, really liked it.
Speaking of perspective, like when they're all coming in on the train back home, like at one point the guy can't even look him in the eyes, and then they're coming back home. I think they're just going to be made fun of or whatever because he pretty much deserted or not surrendered, but quit.
Yeah, because at one point, that guy, what did he say? He's like, Harry Styles, he's like, all we did was survive. He's like, that's more enough than a lot of people.
And then when they got on the thing, people are offering them beers and like, cheering them home. Like, it was cool. It was a powerful moment where like they weren't hated or they weren't seen as cowards.
Yeah.
They, that was cool, and it was smart. There was one part like, where's everybody at? He's like, we're saving our ships and fighters to protect our home next. So they couldn't afford. They knew it was lost. Yeah. So that's why they didn't come out there and do it. Yeah, it was lost already. Not a lot of. I guess I was expecting also maybe the Saving Private Ryan. I like, my criticism of the film would be, and it's okay. It wasn't his intent, but personally, I like the character-driven story. I mean, who doesn't? But I do favor that a lot more. Like, I know we didn't get to know them. Mm-hmm. You knew who they were, but you didn't get to know them.
Because I'm sure. Can you name any of their names?
Nope. I just Scarecrow and Bane.
Scarecrow and Bane, yeah, and Jarvis.
The man had a character. The old man and the boy, the son, and you learned about him. How do you know these techniques? Oh, my boy was a pilot, and he died. He mentions my brother died 3 weeks into the war or whatever. Yeah. And I thought there was going to be some sort of weird thing, but then I was like, no, they've already overlapped time where Tom Hardy was the brother. And I was like, maybe that was a flashback of this, but they didn't. It was just, he knew it because he was proud of his son and he wanted to help out. So I like that characterization, but it was different. It's experimental filmmakers. Yeah. They try things. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add to it? Beautiful movie, but
it was beautiful, and I know you guys
dreary
don't agree.
And beautiful. Yeah. Dreary, sad, tense, but beautiful. Yeah.
It was, I thought, I mean, I've never been in war, but I thought more realistic than Saving Private Ryan than
What?
I know, Jim. I know.
What?
I know. But because it was driven by the characters. Yeah. We saw actual soldiers doing what I assume happened back then. We don't know. We weren't taught that. But I loved it. I thought it was so pretty.
It was human.
It was human. Yeah,
they were scared.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things is just every shot. I thought it was so pretty. Yeah. I was impressed by every shot. And I was, as I was watching it, I was thinking of the editor, how he was getting all the stories to get. And that's why I mentioned the thing about it bothering me, the night and day. Because I was thinking, like, from this perspective of the editor, like, how... Like, I don't know how he was going to make all the different timelines work. Yeah, together and. Well,
this one was written and and directed by Christopher Nolan. So he had, I mean, obviously some passion. What is his nationality? He's British.
I don't know.
I think he might be, maybe not. I don't even know.
I don't know.
But maybe it was that. It was honoring those folks, this this story that isn't as popular as the other ones we know because it wasn't a victory, right? So, but I think it was an important thing to tell. How about you? Anything you want to add? I mean,
it was just, aside the whole tone of it overall, and how fast it was and kind of confusing and thick accents, I think, you could tell they spent a lot of money shooting it, and there was a lot of attention to detail, and just a lot of the scenes. It's like, damn, they spent a lot of money on this thing. So props to them. It was, I mean, it was well shot, and it was an original plot, a story that you hadn't really seen before. So it was really good in that sense.
Yeah, it was. I know I talked to you about it. If it was in 70 millimeter film, I know they shot it on 70 millimeter film. He actually shoots on film, so he's one of the last guys that shoots on film. I know he shot like on IMAX with The Dark Knight Rises. That's the name of the movie. And he like broke one of these. There's like 2 IMAX cameras in the world, and he broke one of them or something during like a tunnel scene or something. Yeah, it might have been in the Dark Knight actually, but I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, he loves using this technology, like old technology, and film higher fidelity, more details. And so I don't know in my screening if it was that one. It was an XD. Might have just been a digital projection, but it'd be cool to see. I know you can see like the film grain, and it's very, very nice. But yeah, I guess with final thoughts and ratings, do you want to go first? I think you kind of shared with us earlier. What would you give it?
I would give it a 6.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the story was good, like I said, and it was original. It was confusing at times, but to me, I mean, it's not our story. It's not an American story, but it was just difficult to understand. For someone that doesn't have a background in history, or I didn't minor in history, and I really don't have much affiliation to it, I just, I was taken by. It was kind of hard for the regular person to understand that thick British accent. Like, it was... Sure. To me, it was thick, and to Pablo too. Like that to us kind of killed it. Had we understood what they were saying, maybe we would have gone a little like the hang of what was happening a little better. But to us, that just made it kind of hard.
I bet like those actors, like, man, I nailed that accent. Like they're like, no, but it's okay.
Just so
I understand. We're not used to it. We're not accustomed.
I wish I had
to
captions. Maybe
subtitles. Like you turn on subtitles and understand what they're saying.
That would have been better.
I get it. I mean, there was a couple moments where I'm like, what did he say? But for the most part, I understood it. I joked with you. I was like, I watch Doctor Who. It's fine. Peter Capaldi has a really, really...
I like on a regular basis.
Scottish, right?
Yeah,
He's Scottish.
Yeah.
But speaking English, he still has that accent sometimes.
Like, I like a cute accent here and there and everything.
Like,
Harry Potter's understandable.
True.
But this is just thick.
It was probably tailored to the time.
Yeah.
So one, they're acting to the time period.
To the time.
Yeah, and then also maybe a region of British,
where they were, because there's different dialects. It's not just one British accent. There are dozens of them,
Just like here in the U.S., you have your... So it's
North Texas, and then you have your valley.
so,
English.
So what would you rate it? You said a 6, right? 6 Charlie
Mm-hmm.
Donuts. How about you, Melinda? Or do you want me to go?
I don't know. I'll go. It's okay. So the British thing, I like to watch a lot of British shows. I appreciate.
Yeah, one could say you were in an organization.
I was in an organization
that appreciates
British culture. So that did not bother me at all. I understood everything that they were saying. I didn't think it was heavy at all. That didn't even cross my mind, to be honest. I think I would give it an 8, maybe. Okay. Because and you guys know that I like to... I won't say it out loud like my dad during films, but I like to predict what's going to happen in the movie. And with this one, I kept throughout the entire film thinking, how is this going to end? I couldn't figure out how they were going to tie the ribbon. Like, I didn't understand how it was I didn't know. I'm like, is this going to be one where everyone dies? Is this going to be one where someone comes and saves the day and everyone's like, I didn't understand what was going to happen, and that kind of kept bugging me throughout the film because I couldn't figure out what was going to happen. So I would give it an 8. That's my...
Okay. Yeah, just wanted to mention one of my favorite parts. I mean, that was really cool, not knowing who's going to live or die. When he's manually pumping the hydraulics to open up the wheels.
That was so scary.
Yeah, and I was like, just crash in the water. But I was like, no, this guy's going to land this thing. But in enemy territory, like everybody was leaving, and he was way far out there. But he saved those people. I thought that was cool. For me, a lot of good moments, beautifully shot. Music wasn't a fan of it, but I understand why they did that. But for me, I didn't enjoy it because I was like, oh my God, this thing is so stressful. And maybe it was my mindset at the time. But I would have to give this movie, and I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan, probably, oh man, this is hard, probably like a 5.5.
Oh shoot!
Even
that's
lower than
so
me.
low.
I know, and I know it a lot. It's just maybe my expectations for the film. I didn't know
But
what
you
to
didn't have
expect.
any
I didn't.
expectations.
I said Christopher Nolan,
I didn't even spoil it.
World War.
You did
You
in our group chat.
I did not. Did I?
Yeah.
3 plot
But-
lines. You can't understand them.
Oh.
So, like, I understood the movie great, and I saw that thing, the featurette, later, and I was like, man, maybe I need to watch this movie again. But as of right now, and when I left the theater, I was like, okay. I had to, like, think of it. So probably a 5.5 jelly donuts.
That is so low.
And also, people have asked me that, like, 2 people today were gonna go. We're interested in watching it. I was like, I really wouldn't recommend you watching it.
I just said, don't pay for it.
I said, well, no. Like, I had to tell him. I was like, he's like, hey, was it this kind of movie? And I was like, it's not what I expected. He's like, oh, okay. I was like, it's good things about it, but I wouldn't recommend. Like, you probably won't be into it. And then the other person, the same thing. I said, yeah, you probably wouldn't be into it.
Edgar and Hector?
No, Edgar and Jenny. So because she was gonna go check it out with her family, and I was like, your dad will probably like it. That's what I said. He'll probably like it. Appreciate all. No, because he's into boats, old boats, and he'd probably be able to name the airplanes. So I know that about her dad. So I knew that he would probably appreciate it and like it. But as far as a movie going experience, I don't see the normal everyday person liking it. Maybe not. It's a non-traditional movie.
War epics are not for everybody.
Yeah,
A lot of people can't deal with all the dying. Like
and
all
speaking
the
of that, no blood. I don't think I saw any blood in this movie.
When the kid fell, you saw
little-
blood.
It was very little, though. I was like,
And it was
is
like
he,
a PG.
did,
I didn't
did
even
he
see it on
open
his
his
hands.
skull? Like,
Yeah, he cracked his skull, but like that's one thing. It's like very little blood. There's a man who literally got. You saw the dropping of the bombs get exploded. He just goes up.
Yeah.
Not like in half,
Yeah.
like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
But this one, and I think the film was PG-13, which is crazy. For a war movie.
For a war movie, yeah.
But yeah, that's just how I felt at the end, and I really wanted to like it because I love Christopher Nolan. But I think I'd watch it again, but I really wouldn't recommend somebody.
A regular person.
I guess I don't know. I don't mean to sound a certain way.
No.
But yeah, the
because-
regular
no.
moviegoer to
Yeah.
go watch this movie.
No, like I said, a lot of people don't. Not that they don't appreciate war
Yeah.
movies. They're just not for. They're not for
Yeah.
everybody. A lot of people will not like them. But I feel like my love of history is what drives my love of war epics, and it's just because I read a ton about wars throughout my entire college career. I read a lot about fighting and wars and battles, and so I would try to put my mind where they were, and that helps me appreciate everything that's happened that soldiers endure, and that's what makes me love them. That I have to like put myself like they can do something that I can't, like so I think that's why I especially love these types of movies. But like, and every time I drag my sister to them, she can't stand them. She is bored. She'll keep staring. She'll like tell me, she's like, "What? How?" No, she'll tell me, she's like, "How long is this movie? How long more until it ends?" And I'm like, "Shh, like pay attention." But she doesn't like.
Usher, please remove.
Usher, this lady is bothering me. She doesn't like going to war movies with me. She'll be like, "Go with Dad." Like because my dad loves them.
You get it from your dad.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do like war movies, but I guess maybe it was just expectation or what I'm feeling at the moment or whatever it was. But props to him experimenting. I did like the timeline thing, so those are the things I did like. But just not non-traditional, and but that's what I thought. I don't know. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up? Or, okay.
Don't pay full price for it. Wait
That's
for
what
it
she
to
said.
the dollar movies.
She's like, watch it at the dollar movies. I love the sound though. I do have to give props for the sound effects. Like I saw it in a really good theater.
Did you
There's
feel
vibrations
your seat?
and all that
Because
stuff.
I move a lot when I'm sitting down. Like I'll have like my feet like I'll have my feet
She
like
does.
this. I'll have no one was sitting beside me, so I had my feet over the rail, so I had my feet laying on the other one, and I felt like like I felt the vibrations of all the bullets and stuff, and I loved it. I loved
Yeah,
it.
I was
I thought
happy.
it was so cool.
I was happy the theater that I watched it in, their sound system was really good. Like I've been in some theaters that sounds really low. This one, it was loud. Where it's like, man, you can imagine. And there's a scene. I know we're going over. There's a scene where a guy is covering his ears underwater, and you can imagine that. Yeah, you can imagine the whole vibrations kind of like rupturing your eardrums and covering his ears. Anyway, yeah.
We watched it in XD in Edinburgh, the new one, and
IMAX.
the IMAX stereo because Pablo wanted it, and I could feel Pablo next to me. Like I was kind of worried for him as far as like, oh my god, like what's he feeling like. And I could feel him like tensing up because the surround sound was like legit, like legit. Like in that scene that you're talking about where he's underwater and you hear that one, like you felt it like inside you, your heart, in your heart.
Well,
in your heart.
Humans have their heart right there.
Your heart. Yeah, it was. I was kind of worried for him, and I could see him like moving in his chair, and I know how I can
Fidgety.
Yeah, I feel it. So I'm like,
did he have a spinner?
No, he didn't have it with him because he was just
you took it away.
tensing up. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's really all we have to say about that. Speaking of Forrest Gump. No, so yeah, thanks for joining us. My name's Jim.
Claudia.
And Melinda.
Have a nice day.
Bye. Is that like DNA? Like, would you be able to extract my DNA from there?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do you have DNA on yours?
No. Thursday.
How would you react if this little water that I have that I just I just threw it on you?
What the heck?
Like, how would you react? That's what you would say? You wouldn't get mad? Would you laugh? What would you do?
I would laugh. I'd be.
I don't think you would laugh. I think you would get mad. I want to see you mad. I'm mad.
No, you don't want to see me mad.
Why not? Okay, no. Bruce Banner over here.
You don't want to see. I can't say the exact words. You don't want to see me mad.
That's like
I will be unpleasant.
That's my. What's another word for secret? That's my private idea. I'm always upset.
That nobody knows.
Nobody knows that I have not told anybody. Yeah. Why? Do you yell?
No, my voice gets loud.
So yell? Like if we were walking and I tripped you and you fell, would you yell at me?
No.
That's the closest thing I can do.
I'd be like, good joke.
Can't wait till you got me off at the dentist.
That was real good. A good one, Melinda.
This little light of mine.
Pop your neck on.
I can't do it. I can't.
All right.
And mine doesn't.
I hold back on the popping.
I feel like I wouldn't be.
Oh, no, don't do it, Melinda. You're gonna twist your neck.
It will go.
Don't do it.
How do you pop it? What position do you move it to?
I don't know. You're good. Punch me in the arm. All right. Okay, ready?
Let me flex for the camera.
That's not what I was doing.
Yes, it was.
I was just telling her, get your aggression out.
On my strong arm.
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine. I can take your puny hand.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about facts? Do we have all the facts?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That was going to be a short one.
It is.
Do we need to?
No, we don't. I'm just kidding.
You're
getting all angry?
I didn't take notes, guys.
I had
Did
no notes.
we need to?
A short one.
It is.
Do we need to?
No, we don't.
A short one.
It is.
Do we need to?
No, we don't.
And that's a wrap.